When my wife said, "He's like a brother to me," I believed her. I didn't even question it. Maybe that's what hurts the most now, that I trusted her so blindly. His name was Mark, a guy she'd known for years, long before she met me. They'd gone to college together, and according to her, they'd always been just friends. He was around a lot in the early years of our marriage. Backyard barbecues, birthday parties, little weekend hangouts. He'd bring beer, tell stories, and always made my wife laugh a little too easily. But I told myself not to be that husband, the jealous, paranoid one who sees ghosts in every corner. I wanted to be secure, mature, trusting. So when she'd hug him a little too long, or when he'd call her late at night to talk about life, I brushed it off. "He's like a brother to me," she'd always say. And I'd nod, smile, and tell myself to stop overthinking. But then came that night, the night that broke everything. It was a Friday. She told me she was going out to dinner with Mark and a few other friends. Nothing unusual. She'd done it before, and I didn't question it. I stayed home, ordered pizza, and put on a movie. Around midnight, I realized she still hadn't come home. I texted her. No reply. I called straight to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Nothing. By 1:30 a.m., I was pacing the living room, convincing myself she was just being safe and not driving after drinks. Around 2 a.m., I heard a car door outside. Relief hit me first, then confusion. I glanced through the blinds and saw her getting out of his car. They were parked across the street under a dim streetlight. She was laughing softly, her hand resting on his arm as they talked. Something about their body language didn't look friendly. Not anymore. I should have gone outside right then. I should have called her name, but I didn't. Something inside me told me to stay quiet and watch. I know how that sounds, like a coward. But in that moment, I needed to see the truth for myself. They stood there for a few minutes, just talking. Then she leaned in closer, too close. He said something that made her laugh again, and she placed her hand on his chest. I froze. That wasn't how you touched someone who's like a brother. That's when I heard it. I'll never forget the sound of her voice. Soft, low, intimate. She whispered something to him that cut through the night like a knife. "You always make me feel alive," she said. My heart sank. I felt my entire world tilt. My stomach turned. My hands went numb. I remember stepping back from the window like the air had been punched out of me. The rest of the moment played out like a slow-motion scene I couldn't stop watching. He touched her face, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. She didn't pull away. She didn't look surprised. She just smiled. Small, tender, guilty. Then they hugged, long and close, their bodies pressed together in a way that said everything words didn't need to. I wanted to scream, to run outside, to confront them, but I didn't. I just stood there in my dark living room, watching the two people I trusted most tear something inside me apart without even realizing it. When she finally came inside, I was sitting on the couch pretending to be half asleep. She froze when she saw me, like she hadn't expected me to be awake. "Hey," she said casually, setting down her purse. "Didn't mean to wake you." I mumbled something, playing dumb. "Did you have fun?" I asked. She smiled too quickly. "Yeah, it was good. Just dinner and drinks." I nodded, my throat tight, my heart screaming. I didn't confront her, not that night. I didn't have the strength. I needed to process what I'd seen, what I'd heard. The next morning, she was all sunshine and small talk, like nothing had happened. She made coffee, asked me how I slept, kissed me on the cheek before heading to take a shower. I watched her move around the kitchen, and for the first time in our marriage, I saw her differently, not as my wife, but as a stranger wearing her face. That night kept replaying in my head. Her laughter, her touch, her whisper, "You always make me feel alive." For the next few days, I tried to act normal. But I was breaking inside. I started noticing little things I'd ignored before. The extra time she spent getting ready, the way she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, the sudden random errands that always seemed to take longer than they should. Every piece of the puzzle started falling into place, and the picture it painted made me sick. She thought she was being careful, but she wasn't. And once you start seeing lies, you can't unsee them. I finally confronted her a week later. We were sitting in the living room, and I asked as calmly as I could, "Are you and Mark more than friends?" She blinked, pretending to be offended. "What? Of course not." I didn't argue. I just looked at her and said, "I heard what you whispered to him." Her face went pale. I could see the panic flash in her eyes before she could mask it. "You don't understand," she stammered. But I did. I understood perfectly. She started crying, saying it wasn't what it looked like, that she was confused, that she didn't mean for it to go that far. But you can't unhear the truth once you've heard it. You can't unsee the way someone looks at another person when they've stopped looking at you that way. That was the night I packed a bag and left. I didn't yell, didn't break anything, didn't beg. I just walked out. It's been 6 months now. We've spoken a few times since, mostly about paperwork, logistics, all the dull details that follow when love dies. I still think about that whisper sometimes. You always make me feel alive. It echoes in my head, but it doesn't hurt the same way anymore. If anything, it reminds me that I'd been living half alive for too long too. I gave everything to someone who had already left me in her heart. Maybe she found what she was looking for. Maybe I will too. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that betrayal doesn't start with a kiss. It starts with a whisper.